she spotted the human ship on radar and froze, not just a legend. Commander Zirath had stared at her radar screen and felt her blood turn cold. For 40 years, she had served in the Krell Defense Fleet. She had seen asteroid storms, pirate raids, and even survived a skirmish with rogue military ships. Nothing in 4 decades had prepared her for this moment. The signature on her screen was impossible. It could not exist. And yet, there it was. Commander? Her communications officer, young Riva, looked up from her station. Did you see that ping? Zira said nothing. Her 3-fingered hand hovered over the control panel, trembling slightly. The other crew members continued their duties, unaware that their entire universe was about to change. The patrol vessel, Morning Light, drifted through the Forbidden Drift, a massive field of ancient wreckage that stretched for thousands of kilometers. This region had been a battlefield 300 years ago during the Cascade Wars. Thousands of ships had died here. Their broken hulls still floated in the darkness, monuments to a conflict most people had forgotten. Commander Zira? Riva called again, louder this time. The sensor array just picked up an unusual reading. Should I log it as debris? No, Zira whispered. Then, louder. No! Run a full analysis! Compare it against the historical database. Her first officer, Thek, rose from his seat. He was a large Krell with dark blue skin and skeptical eyes. Commander, what is wrong? You look like you have seen a ghost. Zero almost laughed. A ghost. Yes, that was exactly what she had seen. The radar signature matched a pattern that should not exist anywhere in the galaxy. It was a Terran vessel, a human ship, but humanity was extinct. Everyone knew the story. 3 centuries ago, the Zalith Empire had destroyed Earth in a single brutal attack. The planet had burned. Billions died. The human species had been wiped from existence. The Galactic Council had declared them extinct 75 years after the attack, when no human colonies responded to contact attempts. Zira had learned about humans in school, like everyone else. They had been strange creatures, ambitious, emotional, and dangerously creative. They had built impressive technology for such a young species. Their extinction had been considered tragic but inevitable. They had made powerful enemies, but the elders told different stories. Zira remembered her grandmother, old and scarred from the wars, whispering late at night, "Humans do not die easy, child. They are like the crush vine that grows on our homeworld. Cut it down, burn it, poison the soil, it always comes back." Humans were the same way, too stubborn to stay dead. Zira had dismissed those stories as superstition. Old soldiers always spoke of their enemies with a mixture of fear and respect, making legends out of simple facts. Until now. "Analysis complete," Riva announced. Her voice carried confusion. "Commander, this is strange. The signature matches a Terran heavy cruiser design from the pre-Cascade era. But that is impossible. There are no human ships left." The bridge fell silent. Every crew member turned to look at Zira. Tech crossed his arms. It must be a malfunction. Or perhaps salvagers found an old wreck and got it operational somehow. No. Zira shook her head. Look at the movement pattern. The ship, whatever it was, moved through the debris field with perfect precision. It avoided collision by centimeters, threading through gaps that would be impossible to navigate without advanced sensors and incredible piloting skill. No salvager flew like that. No one flew like that except they used to say humans could fly through anything, Zira murmured. That their pilots were born in the stars. "Old stories," Deck said dismissively, but his voice carried a hint of uncertainty. Zira made a decision. Cut all external transmissions. Silent running. "Now, Commander, Collad." They stepped closer. "Protocol requires us to report any unknown vessel immediately." "I know the protocol," Zira snapped. "And I also know what happens if we report this. The Council will send a battle fleet. If that really is a human ship, first contact should not happen with weapons ready." Psh, she did not mention the other reason. The real reason she hesitated. If humans had survived, if they had spent 300 years hiding and watching, they would remember who had fought alongside the Zalith during the Cascade Wars. They would remember that the Carol had been there when Earth burned. They would remember their enemies.
"Commander!" Riva's voice pitched high with alarm.
"The vessel is changing course. It is coming toward us." the mysterious ship altered its trajectory with sudden purpose, moving directly toward the morning light. On the tactical display, the distance closed rapidly. 10,000 kilometers, 9,000, 8,000. "Shields up," Zira ordered, keeping her voice steady. "Power weapons, but do not target. Riva, open all hailing frequencies." "Commander, I strongly advise the passage." Back began. "Broadcasting on all channels," Riva interrupted. "Wait, I am receiving something." Audio transmission, galactic standard language. The bridge speakers crackled. Static hissed and popped. Then, clear as starlight, a voice spoke. It was strange. Flatter than Krell voices, with odd rhythms, a human voice. "Krell Patrol Vessel, this is UHSN Remembrance. We have been waiting a long time for someone to find us." Zira gripped her command chair so hard her knuckles hurt. The voice continued, calm and deliberate. "Do not run. We need to talk. We have information about a threat to your homeworld. Please respond." Every eye on the bridge turned to Zira. Her crew waited, frightened and confused, for her to say something. To do something. To explain how the impossible had just become real. Zira opened her mouth, but no words came out. Humanity was not extinct. The ghosts were real, and they had been watching all along. Zira's hand trembled as she reached for the communication controls. Her crew watched her in stunned silence. They had gone completely still, his usual confidence replaced by uncertainty. Riva's eyes were wide with fear and wonder. The other officers sat frozen at their stations, waiting for their commander to make a decision that would change everything. "This is Commander Zirarith of the Krell Patrol Vessel Morning Light," she said slowly. "Humanity was declared extinct 300 years ago. Explain yourselves." Static filled the bridge for several long seconds. "We understand your confusion, Commander. We would like to dock a shuttle with your vessel and explain in person. We are powering down our weapons as a gesture of peace." On the tactical display, the energy signatures from the human ship's weapons systems faded to nothing. The vessel drifted closer, making no threatening moves. They leaned toward Zira and whispered urgently, "Commander, this violates every first contact protocol. We should maintain distance and call for reinforcements. If they wanted us dead, we would already be debris," Zira replied quietly. She had seen how that ship moved through the wreckage field. If the humans intended violence, the morning light would not survive. She activated the communication channel again. Permission granted. "You may dock at our port airlock, but know this, my weapons will remain active." "Understood, Commander. We would do the same." Shuttle launching now. A small craft detached from the human ship and approached the morning light. It was sleek and dark, almost invisible against the black of space. Zira noticed it used propulsion technology she had never seen before. No visible exhaust, no energy signature her sensors could identify. "Fake, assemble a security team," Zira ordered. "Riva, record everything. If this goes wrong, the Council needs to know what happened here." 20 minutes later, Zira stood in the docking bay with 6 armed guards behind her. Her pulse pounded in her ears. The airlock cycled open with a hiss of equalizing pressure. 3 humans stepped through. Zira had seen pictures in history files, but seeing them in person was different. They were smaller than Krell, with only 2 arms and strange, flexible faces. Their skin tones varied. One had dark brown skin, another pale cream, and the third something in between. They wore uniforms of deep blue with silver insignia. The human in front, a woman with dark hair tied back, stepped forward. She moved with careful, deliberate gestures, someone trained in first contact protocols. "Commander Zariath, I am Captain Sarah Chen of the United Human Space Navy vessel Remembrance. This is my chief engineer, Marcus Webb, and our diplomatic officer, Kai Okafor." She spoke galactic standard perfectly, with only a slight accent. Zira inclined her head formally. "Captain Chen, you claim to represent humanity. How did your people survive?" Sarah's expression turned somber. "Not all of Earth died, Commander. When the Zalith attacked, 14 colony ships escaped. Not many, but enough. We carried 20,000 people between us. Scientists, engineers, children, farmers. Everyone we could save." Marcus, a tall man with graying hair, added quietly, We ran for the edge of known space. We found systems no one else wanted, places too dangerous or too poor in resources. We hid. We rebuilt. We survived. For 300 years? They spoke up from behind Zira, his voice skeptical. You expect us to believe your species stayed hidden for 3 centuries? We became very good at not being found, Kai said. He was younger than the others, with warm brown skin and intelligent eyes. When extinction is the alternative, you learn quickly. Sarah reached into her uniform and pulled out a small data device. Commander, may I show you something? Sarah activated the device, and a holographic projection filled the air between them. The image showed Earth from orbit, a blue and green world, beautiful beyond words. Then fire rained from the sky. Cities burned. Oceans boiled. Evacuation ships fled in desperate streams while defense platforms exploded. Zira watched in horror as the planet's surface turned black and red. This is what the Zalith did to our homeworld, Sarah said quietly. 20 billion people died in 3 days. Riva made a small, pained sound. Even Thek looked disturbed. The hologram changed, showing different scenes. Children crying in overcrowded ship corridors, wounded people receiving medical care in makeshift facilities, exhausted engineers working on damaged systems. These were the survivors, the 20,000 who escaped. We spent the first 50 years just staying alive, Marcus explained. Ships breaking down, resources running out, diseases we did not have medicines for. We lost 7,000 people in those early years. But we endured, Sarah continued. We built hidden stations. We trained our children to be silent, to be invisible. Every generation learned the same lessons. Trust no one, prepare for everything, and never ever forget what was taken from us. Kai pulled up a new image. A star chart marked with hundreds of red dots scattered across the galaxy. These are human observation posts. We have been watching everyone for 2 centuries. We know about council politics, trade routes, military capabilities. We mapped every major species and their territories. Zira felt cold realization wash over her. You have been preparing for something. Yes, Sarah said bluntly. We prepared to survive in a galaxy that wanted us dead. We developed technology no one else has. Stealth systems, advanced sensors, weapons designed specifically to fight those who destroyed us. We became ghosts, Commander, and ghosts see everything. Marcus stepped forward, his expression serious. We know things, Commander. Things your own government has not told you.
What kind of things? Zira asked carefully.
Sarah met her eyes directly. We know that in 3 months, the Zalith will attack your homeworld. Zira stared at Sarah Chen, unable to speak. Around her, the security team shifted nervously. Vek's face had turned a darker shade of blue, a sign of shock among the Krell. That is impossible, Zira finally said. The Zalith and Krell have maintained peace for nearly 200 years. We have trade agreements, diplomatic channels. And yet, it is true, Kai interrupted gently. He activated another hologram. Encrypted military communications scrolled past, showing troop movements, fleet deployments, and invasion timetables. We intercepted these transmissions 4 weeks ago from a Xyleth command vessel. Zira studied the data, her military training kicking in despite her shock. The fleet compositions were massive. 3 battle groups, support vessels, carrier ships. The target coordinates matched Krell Prime perfectly. The projected attack date was 90 to 2 days away. This could be falsified, Thek said, but his voice lacked conviction. Marcus shook his head. Look at the encryption protocols. Those are current Zalith military codes, updated weekly. We could not fake that even if we wanted to.
Sarah stepped closer to Zira.
Commander, there is something else. Your government knows about this. What? Zira's voice came out sharp. The Zalith contacted the Krell High Council 6 months ago with an ultimatum. Surrender peacefully and accept occupation, or face total war. Your council chose surrender. They have been negotiating terms in secret, preparing to hand over your homeworld without a fight. Zira felt the world tilt beneath her feet. No, the council would never. Our military would fight. Our people would resist. Your people will never get the chance, Kai said quietly. The Council plans to announce the voluntary integration only after Zalith ships are already in orbit. They will present it as a peaceful merger, a new alliance. By the time anyone realizes the truth, it will be too late. Riva's voice came from the doorway where she had been watching. Commander, that explains the unusual orders we have been receiving. Everyone turned to look at her. The young communications officer stepped forward hesitantly. 3 weeks ago, all patrol vessels were ordered to maintain positions away from the homeworld. We were told it was for training exercises, and last month, several defense platforms around Krell Prime went offline for maintenance. They never came back online. They cursed in the old Krell language. They are removing defenses, clearing the way for invasion. Not invasion, Sarah corrected. Occupation. The Zalith want your world intact, your infrastructure, your resources, your population as labor. The council members who cooperate will be given positions of power under the new regime. Zira felt sick. Everything suddenly made terrible sense. The strange reassignments of loyal officers, the budget cuts to the military, the rumors of council members moving their families off-world. She had noticed these things but never connected them. Why tell us this? Zira demanded. What do humans gain from warning us? Sarah's expression softened. Because we understand what it means to lose your homeworld, Commander. We know the pain of betrayal, of leaders who fail their people. We do not wish that on anyone, not even former enemies. Former enemies, Thek repeated bitterly. The Krell fought alongside the Zalith during the Cascade Wars. We helped them destroy human colonies. Why would you help us now? Marcus answered, his voice steady. Because revenge solves nothing. We learned that lesson over 3 centuries. We could have stayed hidden, watched your species burn, and felt satisfied. But that would make us no better than those who destroyed Earth. We want justice, not more death, Kai added. We want the truth known. We want the Zalith held accountable. And we need allies who understand what they are capable of. Zira looked at her first officer. Dake stood rigid, his mind clearly working through the implications. She could see the conflict on his face. Duty to the chain of command versus duty to their people. What would you have us do? Zira asked Sarah. We need you to take us to someone you trust in the military command, Sarah replied. Someone with enough authority to act, someone who has not been compromised by the council. We will share our intelligence, offer our support. Together, we can stop this. And in return, Zira knew humans would not offer help without a price. When this is over, we want the Krell to testify before the Galactic Council that humanity still exists. We want our species recognized again. We want our place in the galaxy restored. Sarah's voice carried quiet steel. We have been ghosts long enough. It is time to come home. Zira closed her eyes, thinking hard. If she helped the humans, she would be committing treason against the council. If she refused, her homeworld would fall to the Zalith without a fight. Both paths led to disaster, but one path might save her people. I know someone, Zira said finally. Admiral Corvin, commander of the Variox, 4 Station. He is old military, served before the current council came to power. If anyone has remained loyal, it is him. Then we go to Variox. 4. Commander, this is madness, Thak protested. We could all be executed for this. We are already dead if we do nothing. At least this way, we die trying to save our people. She looked each of them in the eyes. I will not order you to follow me in this. Anyone who wants to leave can take a shuttle to the nearest outpost. No judgment, no consequences. No one moved. Riva stepped forward first. I am with you, Commander. One by one, the others nodded their agreement. Even Thek, after a long moment, gave a reluctant nod. Then we set course for Varix. 4, Zira announced, and may the ancestors forgive us for what we are about to do. The journey to Varix, 4, took 18 hours. Zira spent most of that time in her quarters, reviewing the intelligence the humans had provided. Each document made her anger burn hotter. Her government had betrayed everything the Krell stood for: honor, courage, loyalty to their people. When they finally arrived at the orbital station, Zira requested a private meeting with Admiral Corvin. She had served under him years ago, before his promotion to station command. He was a warrior from the old school, scarred and weathered by decades of service. The Admiral met them in a secured conference room. He was a massive Krell, with gray-streaked skin and eyes that had seen too many battles. When he saw the humans, his hand moved instinctively toward his sidearm. "Commander Ziraev," he said slowly, "would you care to explain why you brought extinct aliens to my station?" "Sir, they are not extinct, and they have information you need to hear," Zira gestured to Sarah. "This is Captain Chen of the human vessel Remembrance." For the next hour, Sarah presented everything: the survival of humanity, the intercepted communications, the Council's secret surrender. Corvin listened in silence, his expression growing darker with each revelation. When Sarah finished, the Admiral sat back heavily in his chair. "I have suspected something was wrong for months. Council members liquidating assets, moving families off-world, reassigning loyal officers to remote posts." He rubbed his face tiredly. "I hoped I was being paranoid. I hoped my years had made me see conspiracies where none existed. It is real, sir," Zira said quietly. "The Zalith invasion fleet will arrive in 91 days. Why help us? The Krell were your enemies during the Cascade Wars." Marcus leaned forward. "Because cycles of revenge destroy everyone, Admiral. We want justice, not genocide, and we need allies for what comes after." "What do you want in return?" Corvin asked bluntly. "Recognition before the Galactic Council," Sarah replied. "We want humanity's seat restored. We want sanctions against the Zalith for their war crimes, and we want allies who will stand with us when the truth comes out." Corvin stood and walked to the window overlooking the station's docking bay. Outside, ships came and went, unaware that their entire civilization teetered on the edge of destruction. "If I do this, it means civil war," he said quietly. "The Council will not surrender power willingly. The military will split between those loyal to the government and those loyal to our people. If you do nothing, there will be no Krell left to fight over," Kai pointed out. The Admiral turned back to them. "What do you propose?" Sarah activated a holographic tactical display. "We evacuate civilians covertly using our stealth transports. We rally the loyal fleet elements. Then we ambush the Zalith invasion force at the Orcs Nebula. They must drop out if faster than light travel there due to gravitational interference." "How many ships can you commit?" Corvin asked. 30 warships. It is our entire fleet." Marcus pulled up specifications. "They are smaller than Zalith vessels, but equipped with technology 300 years more advanced than anything in the galaxy."
30 ships against a Zalith invasion force.
30 ships against a Zalith invasion force, Thek spoke up skeptically. "Their fleet will number in the hundreds. Combined, we might have a chance." Corvin studied the tactical display, his experienced eye calculating odds and possibilities. Then his expression darkened further. "There is another problem. Intelligence reports suggest the Zalith are bringing a special weapon with this fleet, the World Breaker." Zira felt her blood run cold. She had heard whispers of such a weapon, a ship capable of destroying entire planets. "What does it do?" Marcus asked. "It triggers tectonic instability," Corvin explained grimly. "Artificial earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, atmospheric collapse. The planet tears itself apart. If they deploy it against Krell Prime as a demonstration, billions will die within hours." Sarah's face went pale. Like Earth. Corvin met her eyes with understanding. "They used a prototype of the same weapon on your homeworld." The room fell silent. Zira saw pain flash across the humans' faces. Old wounds reopened. Kai was the first to speak, his voice tight with emotion. "Then we stop it. Whatever it takes, we stop them from doing to another world what they did to ours." "The World Breaker will be heavily guarded," Corvin warned. "Getting close enough to disable it will require a diversion. Something big enough to draw their main fleet away. A suicide mission," Thake said quietly. Zira stood straighter. "Then I will lead it. My crew and I are already traitors in the eyes of the Council. We have nothing left to lose." "Commander, no." Riva started to protest. "It is not up for debate." Jira cut her off gently. She looked around at her crew, seeing their loyalty and courage. "We chose this path when we decided to trust the humans. Now we see it through." Corvin studied her for a long moment, then nodded with respect. "You have more honor than the entire High Council combined, Commander." Sarah stepped forward. You will not be alone, Commander Zira. We did not survive 300 years just to let brave people die pointlessly. We will show you how humans fight when everything is on the line. Marcus grinned fiercely. We have some new toys we have been waiting to test. Time to see if 3 centuries of planning pays off. Corvin activated the station-wide communication system. All senior officers to the command center immediately. Authorization Corvin Alpha 7. This is not a drill. He turned back to the group. We have 91 days to prepare for the most important battle in Krell history. Let us make sure we are ready. Zira looked at the humans standing beside her. Former enemies, now allies. Together, they would face the Zalith. Together, they would protect the innocent. Together, they might just save 2 civilizations. 91 days passed like a heartbeat. Commander Zirath stood on the bridge of her patrol vessel, now upgraded with human technology that made it nearly invisible to sensors. Around her, the Orcs Nebula glowed with swirling clouds of gas and cosmic dust. Beautiful and deadly. All ships in position, Riva reported from her station. Her voice was steady, though Zira knew the young officer was terrified. They all were. Through the nebula's interference, Zira could barely detect the other vessels. 30 human warships hung in perfect formation, dark and silent. Behind them, Admiral Corvin commanded 70 Krell vessels, every loyal ship they had managed to gather without alerting the compromised council. 100 ships against 200 Zalith warships. The odds were not good. Incoming signal, Riva announced. The Zalith fleet is dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Distance, 50,000 kilometers and closing. Zira's screens lit up with enemy contacts. The Zalith invasion force appeared in waves. Destroyers, cruisers, carriers, and troop transports. At the center of the formation, massive and ominous, was the World Breaker. There it is, Thek muttered beside her. The ship that killed Earth. Sarah Chen's voice came through on the command channel. All vessels, hold positions. Wait for my signal. Commander Zira, you ready? Zira took a deep breath. Ready, Captain Chen. Let us make some noise. The morning light broke from cover. Weapons charging. Zira's tactical officer locked onto the nearest Zalith scout ship and fired. The shot struck true, disabling the scout's engines. Immediately, alarms blared across the Zalith fleet. Commander Vrask, the Zalith admiral, barked orders from his flagship. Unknown vessel attacking. All ships, combat formation. Find and destroy that attacker. Zira's ship dove back into the nebula's concealing clouds. The Zalith sent hunter groups after her, exactly as planned. For the next hour, Zira led them on a deadly chase, appearing and vanishing, striking and retreating. Each time the Zalith got close, human stealth technology made the morning light disappear. The Zalith grew frustrated. Vrask made his fatal mistake. Send the World Breaker forward with escort, he ordered. End this annoyance. Show them what happens to those who defy the Zalith Empire. The massive weapon ship moved ahead of the main fleet. Surrounded by 20 escort vessels, it entered the densest part of the nebula, sensors scanning for the Krell patrol ship. Now, Sarah's voice cut through the command channel. Hundreds of human devices activated throughout the nebula. Not explosives, but electromagnetic pulse generators. The World Breaker systems flickered and died. Its weapons powered down. Its shields collapsed. Sarah's voice broadcast on all frequencies. Cold and clear. Commander Vrask, this is Captain Sarah Chen of Earth. Your war ended 300 years ago. You just never got the memo. 30 human ships dropped their stealth system simultaneously, appearing around the World Breaker in perfect firing positions. From the opposite direction, Corvin's Krell fleet emerged from hiding. The Zalith were caught in a trap. All ships fire! Sarah commanded. The battle erupted in brilliant violence. Human weapons, advanced railguns and energy lances tore through Zalith shields like they were paper. Krell vessels pressed the attack from the flanks. The Zalith tried to regroup, but the humans moved like nothing Zira had ever seen. Coordinated, precise, merciless. They fight like a single organism, Thek observed in awe. Marcus Webb led a boarding team toward the disabled World Breaker. His team wore advanced armor that made them look like metal ghosts. They cut through the hull and swept through the ship's corridors, neutralizing resistance with stunning efficiency. Vrosk himself confronted Marcus in the reactor chamber. The Zalith admiral was massive, armed, and furious. "You should be extinct," Vrask roared. "We destroyed your world. We ended your species." Marcus removed his helmet, meeting the admiral's eyes with cold certainty. "You tried. We survived. That is what humans do. We survive, we adapt, and we come back stronger." He raised his weapon. "Surrender the reactor codes, or your ship becomes a tomb." Vrosk lunged at him. Marcus sidestepped smoothly and disabled the admiral with a precise strike. The other humans secured the reactor, preventing detonation. Outside, the battle turned decisively. The Zalith fleet, without their superweapon and caught in a crossfire, began to break apart. Ship after ship surrendered or fled. Vrask's voice came over the fleet-wide channel, defeated. "All Zalith vessels, cease fire, we surrender." Silence fell across the battlefield. Zira stood on her bridge, hardly believing it was over. They had won. Against impossible odds, they had actually won. 2 weeks later, Admiral Korven stood before the Galactic Council, with Captain Sarah Chen at his side. The session was broadcast across hundreds of worlds. "Members of the Council," Korven began, his voice carrying authority earned through decades of service. "I stand before you to expose a conspiracy. The Krell High Council attempted to surrender our homeworld to the Zalith without the consent of our people. They would have handed billions into slavery." Shocked murmurs rippled through the chamber. Korven continued, "We were saved by an ally we thought lost forever. Humanity lives. They protected us when our own leaders betrayed us. I propose immediate reinstatement of humanity to the Galactic Council and full reparations for the crimes committed against Earth." The chamber erupted in chaos, some shouting approval, others protesting, many simply stunned. Sarah stepped forward. "We do not seek revenge. We seek justice. We seek recognition. And we seek to ensure no other species suffers what Earth suffered." When it ended, humanity's seat on the council was restored by a 2/3 majority. Zira watched from the gallery, Riva and Thek beside her. The young communications officer smiled. "We did it, Commander. We actually did it." Jai's railer. "No," Zira corrected gently. "They did it. We just helped them come home." On the viewing screen, Sarah Chen stood among the galactic representatives. No longer a ghost, no longer hiding. Human ships were already returning to Earth's solar system, beginning the long work of rebuilding. Zira thought of that first radar contact, the impossible signature that had changed everything. She had spotted a human ship in Frozen, unable to believe what she was seeing. Now she understood. Humans were never just legends. They were survivors, guardians, allies, and they were finally home. The end.